In the vast tapestry of ancient history, the loudest voices often belong to conquerors and kings, their exploits documented in stone and scroll. Yet, woven quietly through these grand narratives are whispers of rebellion, stories of women who refused to be confined by the expectations of their times. These women shaped the fabric of the ancient world with courage, intellect, and defiant spirit. Their tales are not merely scattered footnotes, but powerful testaments to resilience and revolution. From the sun-baked deserts to misty forests, and from magnificent palaces to humble villages, these rebel women dared to challenge the status quo and rewrite history. Their legacies question the silence imposed by patriarchal chronicles, inviting us to listen closely and appreciate the complexity of the past. Before we immerse ourselves in these forgotten dramas, I invite you to join our journey by subscribing to Boring Bedtime Stories. Together, we shall shed light on these shadows where heroes wear crowns, wield swords, or simply refuse silence. And as you listen, feel free to share in the comments where you are watching from and what stories ignite your spirit the most. Your voice turns distant echoes into vibrant conversations, adding life to these ancient narratives. The ancient world was a realm of power and submission, of duty and desire. Women, often murmured about in history's margins, played pivotal roles in shaping empires and cultures. Their lives, marked by intricate nuances of courage and complexity, remind us that history is not monolithic, but a mosaic of experiences. Histories shaped not just by empires, but by the pulses of hearts willing to resist and dream. These stories carry the scent of wild forests, the shimmer of the Nile, the clangor of distant battlefields, and the gentle murmur of poetic verses. They invite us to wonder, to witness, and to treasure a world where the fire of one woman could enlighten entire civilizations. As we embark on this odyssey through time, we will uncover moments of tension, revelation, and transformation. The journeys we travel together are invitations to reflect upon our own capacities for courage and change. Here, in these narratives, the eternal dance of rebellion continues to unfold, whispering evermore to those willing to listen. Translate. In the shimmering heat of ancient Egypt, where the Nile flows like the lifeblood of a civilization, Cleopatra VII ascended the throne amid intrigue, ambition, and unparalleled challenges. Her story is one of unparalleled political acumen, cultural synthesis, and the fierce assertion of power in a world dominated by men. Cleopatra's rise was far from predestined. Born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, her path to power was entangled with rivalries and alliances that tested her strength. Fluent in 6 languages and educated in philosophy, politics, and the arts, she was more than the seductress history often painted her as. She was a ruler, adept at diplomacy and governance. Her relationship with Julius Caesar was a masterstroke of political alliance, blending personal and strategic dimensions. Through this union, she secured her position and sought to safeguard Egypt's autonomy amid the growing shadow of Rome. Translate. Yet Cleopatra's legacy transcends alliances. She embraced her Egyptian identity, portraying herself as the living incarnation of Isis, goddess of fertility and renewal. This bold cultural positioning endeared her to her subjects and solidified her reign. Her reign was also marked by brilliant public works and patronage of the arts and sciences, reflecting a vision of Egypt not just as a kingdom, but a beacon of learning and culture in the ancient world. Following Caesar's death, Cleopatra skillfully aligned herself with Mark Antony, engaging in a political and romantic partnership that aimed to challenge Rome's rising imperial ambitions. Together, they navigated a treacherous political landscape, culminating in the famous Battle of Actium. Translate. Despite the eventual defeat, Cleopatra's courage and resolve stood firm. Her poignant last acts underscored her refusal to submit to the limitations imposed by empire and gender. The story of Cleopatra is not merely one of royal intrigue, but a profound narrative of identity, resistance, and the quest for power. Her crown is more than a symbol of sovereignty. It is a testament to a woman who dared to shape her destiny and alter the course of history. Translate. In the mist-shrouded hills and dense woodlands of ancient Britannia, the name Boudica reverberates through the corridors of history as a symbol of fierce rebellion and unyielding spirit. As queen of the Iceni tribe, she stood against the might of the Roman Empire with fiery determination, embodying the raw power of resistance that transcended time. Boudica's story begins in a fragile peace, born from the uneasy alliance between her people and Rome. Married to King Prasutagus, she lived under the shadow of Roman rule, while nurturing her own sharp sense of sovereignty. Upon the king's death, however, Rome's ruthless annexation shattered this balance, and Boudica, wronged and enraged by the brutal treatment of her family and people, ignited the flames of revolt. Her leadership was marked not only by vengeance, but a keen military mind. Boudica rallied disparate Celtic tribes into a formidable force, uniting them with a common cause and shared fury. Historical accounts detail her destruction of Roman settlements, including Camulodunum, where her forces brought the empire to its knees. Translate. Yet her triumph was fleeting. Roman legions regrouped, bringing discipline and strategy to bear against her fierce but fragmented rebellion. The decisive battle was a brutal clash, culminating in the defeat of Boudica's forces. Legends say she chose death over capture, cementing her place as a martyr and symbol of indomitable courage. Beyond the battlefield, Boudica's legacy shapes the very identity of resistance. She transcends the role of a warrior queen, becoming a beacon of resilience and a rallying cry for those oppressed. Her thunder echoes across centuries, inspiring those who continue to fight for justice and dignity. To walk in Boudica's footsteps is to encounter the complexities of leadership in times of upheaval. It is to understand the power of unity forged in adversity and the courage required to stand alone yet lead many. Her story is etched not only in the ruins of ancient Britannia, but also in the spirit of rebellion itself, a timeless testament to the strength of a woman who dared to challenge an empire. Translate. In the sun-drenched Isle of Lesbos, surrounded by the azure sea and gentle cliffs, lived Sappho, a poet whose verses transcended time, speaking eloquently of love, longing, and the complexity of the human spirit. Unlike many women of her era, Sappho found her voice and wielded it boldly, challenging societal norms and literary conventions with the grace of her lyricism. Sappho's poetry, preserved in fragments yet resonant with emotion, reveals a candid exploration of desire and affection, often directed toward women. Her willingness to voice love in its many facets marked her as both an admired and controversial figure, embodying a realm where love defied prescribed boundaries. The imagery in her verses evokes fragrant roses blooming in the vibrant sun and the shimmering sea reflecting the endless sky, metaphors that mirror the depths and nuances of human feeling. Her poetry was not mere words, but an intimate sanctuary, celebrating female experience with clarity and grace rarely seen in ancient literature. Translate. In the patriarchal society of ancient Greece, Sappho's lyrical voice was revolutionary. She was more than a poet. She became a cultural force who cultivated a tradition of lyricism centered on the personal and the emotional. Her work offered a rare and precious space for expression, especially for women whose voices were often muted or ignored. The community that Sappho fostered on Lesbos was a unique blend of education, artistry, and female companionship. Here, away from the austere norms of Athenian life, they nurtured creativity and explored identity freely, forging bonds that transcended traditional constraints. Sappho's influence rippled through time, inspiring countless poets and thinkers. Yet much about her life remains shrouded in mystery, lending her legend an aura of allure and timelessness. Her song is at once a lament and a celebration, an anthem to love's complexity and the courage required to live authentically. Translate. Her legacy challenges us to rethink the power of voice in shaping culture and the importance of spaces where marginalized identities find expression. Through Sappho's story, we learn that rebellion need not roar. It can sing softly, persistently, and profoundly. To hear Sappho's song today is to answer a timeless call for love and liberty, a whisper from the past that continues to resonate deeply. Her poetry invites us into the sacred chambers of the human heart, a realm where rebellion blossoms not as defiance alone, but as an enduring affirmation of life's richest emotions. Translate. Tipo, capítulo, número, fimbre, título, Artemisia's Odyssey, Navies and Negotiations, texto título. Artemisia's Odyssey, Navies and Negotiations, contenido. In the turbulent seas of the ancient Mediterranean, where empires clashed like thunderous waves, Artemisia of Caria rose as a figure of awe and strategic brilliance. Not merely a queen, but also a naval commander, she steered her fleet with valor and intellect, navigating the treacherous waters of war and politics with a fearless resolve. Born into royalty, Artemisia inherited not only a throne, but the weighty mantle of leadership at a time when the Persian Empire sought to expand its dominion. Her sharp mind and unyielding spirit elevated her to a key advisor of Xerxes during the Greco-Persian conflicts, a role seldom afforded to women in antiquity. At the Battle of Salamis, Artemisia's naval prowess came to the fore. Against the counsel of retreat voiced by others, she advocated for tactical engagement. Her decisive actions, including the sinking of enemy ships, not only altered the course of the battle, but also shattered prevailing gender expectations. Translate. Beyond the battlefield, Artemisia wielded diplomacy with equal finesse. She skillfully navigated the complex political landscape of her era, balancing Greek and Persian interests to foster cultural and economic prosperity within her kingdom of Caria. Her reign was a testament to the blend of courage and wisdom. Artemisia's story disrupts the narrative of female passivity, presenting a leader who commanded respect and reshaped the possibilities of power for women. Her Odyssey invites reflection on leadership's multifaceted, the interplay of bravery, strategy, and negotiation that transcends time. Artemisia stands as a beacon of defiance and dedication, steering a course through stormy seas and uncertain destinies. Translate. To journey through her life is to witness the sweeping tide of history from an extraordinary vantage point, illuminating the indelible impact of a woman who shaped her world with intellect and courage. Translate. In the age of samurai, amidst the misty landscapes and fortified castles of feudal Japan, a distinct and formidable class of warriors emerged, the Onabugeisha. These women, trained in the rigorous arts of war, wielded weapons with precision and fought to defend their homes and honor, challenging the deeply ingrained patriarchal norms of their society. Born into samurai families, the Onabugeisha were adept in martial disciplines, particularly skilled with the naginata, a pole weapon designed to keep enemies at bay, and the yumi, the revered Japanese bow. Their training was not only physical, but also mental, crafted to embody the Bushido Code's emphasis on discipline, honor, and loyalty. These female warriors played active roles in the defense of their clans, participating in battles and sieges alongside their male counterparts. Historical records tell of their bravery in pivotal conflicts, where their skill and courage often turned the tide. Translate. One of the most celebrated figures among them was Tomoe Gozen, whose legend intertwines beauty with unmatched martial prowess. She is famed for her leadership during the Genpei War, where her swordsmanship and tactical acumen instilled fear in adversaries and admiration within her ranks. Beyond battle, the Onabugeisha were guardians of their households during times of peace, combining martial vigilance with nurturing devotion. This dual role presents a portrait of women whose strength was multifaceted and deeply rooted in cultural values. Their stories dismantle simplistic views of women's roles in ancient times, revealing a dynamic interplay of courage, responsibility, and resilience. The legacy of the Honorable Geisha illuminates the fluidity of gender roles and the empowering qualities of tradition when wielded by those bold enough to transcend convention. Translate. Exploring the lives of the Honorable Geisha invites us to consider the profound ways women have shaped history, not as silent bystanders, but as active and revered participants in the forging of their worlds. Their blades echoed through the halls of castles and the pages of history, a testament to a spirit that fought not only for survival, but for honor. Translate. In the bustling city of Alexandria, where knowledge blossomed amidst stone libraries and magnificent temples, Hypatia emerged as a luminous beacon of intellectual brilliance and courage. As a philosopher, mathematician, and teacher, she navigated the treacherous waters of superstition and religious strife, illuminating darkened minds with the clear light of reason. Her story resonates as a profound testament to the power of knowledge and the dangers it sometimes invites. Born into a family of scholars, Hypatia was immersed from an early age in the legacy of inquiry and learning. In an era when women's roles were severely restricted, she defied societal norms by becoming a leading figure in the Platonic Academy of Alexandria. Her mastery of philosophy and mathematics commanded respect from students and scholars alike, attracting disciples from far and wide. Hypatia's lectures transcended the mere transmission of knowledge. They fostered a vibrant circle of discourse, challenging the dogmatic constraints imposed by emerging religious authorities. Her unwavering commitment to secular wisdom positioned her at the heart of Alexandria's intellectual and political tensions. Translate. The city's fragile equilibrium between pagan tradition and the rise of Christian power was strained, and Hypatia, as a symbol of reason and pagan learning, became a focal point of conflict. Her influence was viewed with suspicion and hostility by growing factions determined to assert dominance. Hypatia's tragic demise, a brutal act fueled by religious fanaticism, marked a sorrowful turning point in Alexandria's history. Yet her legacy transcended this violence. She became immortalized as a symbol of intellectual freedom and the indomitable human spirit's quest for truth. Her life and death provoke us to reflect on the vulnerabilities and courage inherent in the pursuit of knowledge. Hypatia's light, though extinguished prematurely, continues to inspire thinkers who resist the shadows of ignorance and dogma. Translate. Her story invites us to cherish enlightenment as a precious beacon amidst turmoil, and to recognize the sacrifices made by those who dare to think, teach, and challenge entrenched powers. Through Hypatia, we glimpse the enduring struggle for intellectual emancipation in a world often hostile to wisdom. As we carry forward her legacy, there lies an invitation to uphold the values of inquiry, courage, and compassion, a call to nurture the light of reason within the darkest of times. Translate. In the sun-scorched deserts and vibrant cities of Palmyra, Queen Zenobia emerged as a powerful and ambitious ruler whose vision extended beyond the sprawling sands to challenge the might of Rome itself. Her reign was a dazzling blend of cultural fusion, military prowess, and political savvy, marking her as one of the most formidable women in ancient history. Zenobia's rise to power came at a time of uncertainty following the death of her husband, Odenathus. Seizing the reins, she transformed Palmyra into a kingdom that asserted independence and expanded its reach into Egypt and Asia Minor. Her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of Roman politics was as remarkable as her military campaigns. Multilingual and highly educated, Zenobia was not merely a ruler, but a patron of the arts and learning. Her court became a beacon of Hellenistic culture, blended with Eastern traditions, reflecting her own diverse heritage and the cosmopolitan spirit of her city. Translate. Her defiance against Rome was as much ideological as it was territorial. Zenobia presented herself as a rightful sovereign and protector of Eastern identity, standing shoulder to shoulder with the emperors she sought to challenge. This proclamation drew swift retaliation from Rome. The Roman campaign against Palmyra culminated in a fierce siege, testing Zenobia's resilience and the city's endurance. Though ultimately captured, her spirit remained unbroken, and her legacy outlived the empire she faced. Zenobia's story is one of audacity, intellect, and unwavering dedication to sovereignty. She challenges the notion of passive femininity, embodying strength and authority in a world dominated by men. Translate. Her empire may have been fleeting, but the cultural and political impacts she left reverberate through history. Zenobia continues to inspire as a symbol of fearless leadership, cultural pride, and the endless struggle for self-determination. Exploring her journey offers profound insights into empire, identity, and rebellion. Zenobia's tale is a testament to the power of vision and courage that transcends time, reminding us that history is shaped not only by dominant powers, but also by those who dare to defy them. Translate. In the vibrant and tumultuous landscape of 19th century India, Rani Lakshmibai rose from the constraints of tradition to become a fierce icon of resistance. Known as the Tiger Queen of Jhansi, her story is one of courage, sacrifice, and an indomitable spirit amidst the storms of colonial oppression. Her journey began in a society bound by rigid social norms, yet Lakshmibai transcended them through a blend of education and martial discipline. She mastered swordsmanship and horsemanship, skills that would prove vital in her leadership. As the widow of the Maharaja of Jhansi, she faced the British East India Company's draconian annexation policies seeking to dissolve her kingdom. Refusing to relinquish her rights or her son's inheritance, she sparked a rebellion that galvanized a nation. Translate. Her leadership during the Indian Rebellion of 1857 was marked by tactical brilliance and relentless courage. Clad in battle armor, she fought alongside her soldiers, inspiring them with her unbreakable resolve. Despite overwhelming odds, she transformed Jhansi into a fortress of resistance, leading fierce charges on horseback that became legendary symbols of defiance against imperial rule. Lakshmibai's death in battle did not diminish her legend. She became a symbol of India's fight for freedom, a beacon of hope and empowerment, especially for women across the subcontinent. Translate. Her story blends personal grief and political struggle, illuminating a woman navigating motherhood and leadership during upheaval. Through her narrative, themes of identity, nationalism, and the power of will emerge vividly. Her roar transcends centuries, a call to courage for all confronting oppression. Lakshmibai's legacy continues to inspire movements and hearts alike, standing as a testament to rebellion wrapped in nobility and fierce love. Honoring the Tiger Queen saga is to celebrate a fiery spirit that defied empires and champions the eternal power of resistance born from the heart. Translate. Atop the sacred slopes of Mount Parnassus, within the ancient sanctuary of Delphi, the Pythia held a singular place between mortals and the divine. As Oracle of Delphi, her voice was veiled in mystery, echoing across the ancient world and shaping the destinies of kings, generals, and common folk alike. This chapter unveils the enigmatic figure behind the veil of prophecy. Chosen from among the priestesses, the Pythia underwent intense spiritual preparation. Her body and mind were attuned to the sacred vapors believed to impart divine revelation, a ritual as intricate as the words she delivered. Surrounded by smoke and chants, she stood at the nexus where the earthly met the divine, her utterances both revered and enigmatic. The oracle's power was no mere spectacle. It was deeply woven into the religious and philosophical fabric of Greece. Her cryptic pronouncements challenged listeners to seek wisdom beyond the literal, turning prophecy into an act of interpretation and reflection that provoked decisive action. Translate. Pythia's influence stretched far beyond personal advice, permeating the political and religious institutions of her time. Her words legitimized rulers, sanctified wars, and shaped diplomatic alliances, embedding prophecy into the very fabric of power. Yet the Pythia lived under the paradox of agency and constraint. Her voice was sacred but controlled, embodying both spiritual authority and submission within a male-dominated society. Her role reveals the nuanced dimensions of female power in antiquity. Through her story, we explore themes of voice and silence, prophecy and interpretation, power and limitation. The veil that she wore is lifted not to reveal secrets, but to invite a deeper journey into the mysteries where the divine and human meet. Translate. To walk the paths of Delphi is to hear the faint echoes of Pythia's whispers, a haunting reminder of humanity's eternal desire to foresee and shape the uncertain threads of fate. Her legacy continues to inspire, beckoning modern seekers to embrace the balance of mystery and clarity, encouraging us to listen closely to the whispers between worlds. Translate. Nestled in the heart of ancient Rome, the Vestal Virgins held a sacred position that transcended the ordinary. These priestesses were the guardians of the eternal flame, a beacon of Rome's divine favor and enduring strength. Their lives were woven deeply into the spiritual, political, and social fabric of the empire, embodying purity, power, and responsibility. Chosen in childhood, these young women took vows of chastity, dedicating their lives to the service of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. This vow was not a mere formality, but a binding sacred covenant, believed essential to the continued prosperity and safety of Rome. They resided in the Atrium Vestae, a secluded sanctuary within the Roman Forum, embodying a paradox of seclusion and influence. Beyond the symbolic act of tending the eternal flame, the Vestals performed rituals central to Rome's religious identity. Their presence was crucial in ceremonies that sanctified the state and reinforced the city's connection to the divine. Uniquely, Vestal virgins enjoyed privileges uncommon for women of their era, such as owning property, making wills, and riding in carriages, rights that underscored their exceptional status. Translate, however, the weight of their sacred duties came with profound risks. The penalty for breaking their vow of chastity was severe, burial alive, an ominous reflection of the gravity accorded to their role. This stark reality cast a dual shadow of reverence and fear over their lives. The Vestals symbolize a complex interplay among gender, religion, and power in ancient Rome. Their ritual purity represented both a personal sacrifice and a collective safeguard, reflecting the city's deepest anxieties and hopes. Through their story, we gain insight into how women navigated domains typically beyond their reach, wielding power through sanctity and tradition. The eternal flame they tended became a metaphor for resilience, continuity, and sacred stewardship entrusted to women. Translate. Exploring the lives of the Vestal Virgins opens a window into a world where faith and politics were deeply intertwined, and where the feminine divine held a central, though paradoxical, role. Their legacy offers enduring reflections on power, purity, and the intricate ways women have influenced the course of history. These silent flames flickered brightly through Rome's epochs, a testament to the strength concealed within devotion and the timeless influence of women who shaped empires not only with sword or decree, but with sacred fire. Translate. Across the sprawling steppes and rugged plains inhabited by the Massagetæ, a fierce nomadic tribe, the legend of Queen Tomyris resounds as a powerful narrative of wrath, resilience, and unyielding leadership. Though her story emerges not from her own words, but through the echoes of conquest, her legacy stands tall among history's most formidable warriors. Tomyris ruled a proud and independent people, committed to defending their lands against the expanding Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. When Cyrus's forces encroached on her territory, she refused to submit to his imperial ambitions, preparing for a confrontation that would forever alter the course of history. The climactic battle between Tomyris's warriors and the Persian legions was a brutal clash of cultures and tactics. Using guerrilla warfare and intimate knowledge of the harsh landscape, Tomyris outmaneuvered the disciplined Persian army, inspiring her people to fierce acts of resistance. Translate. Following her decisive victory, an act of symbolic vengeance immortalized her wrath. Tomyris is said to have bathed Cyrus's severed head in a vessel of blood, an expression steeped in tribal customs and the ancient emotions of war. Her defiance was emblematic of a broader struggle for identity and autonomy, echoing the voices of those unwilling to be erased or assimilated. Through her leadership, Tomyris embodied the spirit of sovereignty and survival against seemingly insurmountable forces. While less adorned in the grand narratives of classical history, her story disrupts the image of passive femininity. Tomyris ascends as a warrior queen whose wrath reshaped the destiny of her people and challenged an empire's expansion. Translate. Exploring Tomyris's tale unearths themes of passion, vengeance, and leadership that transcend time, linking ancient struggles with contemporary inspirations of resilience. Her narrative serves as a bridge connecting the primal power of rebellion to the timeless role of women in defending their worlds. It is a call to remember and honor the fierce spirits who dared to defy and transform history's currents. Translate. In the cradle of civilization, amidst the fertile plains of ancient Mesopotamia, the name Enheduanna shines as a beacon of literary and spiritual pioneering. As the first author whose name has survived millennia, Enheduanna was not only a high priestess of Inanna, but also a formidable poet whose words bridged the divine and the mortal. Daughter of Sargon of Akkad, she wielded words as sovereign instruments, crafting hymns and poetry that articulated devotion, political identity, and personal insight. Her voice rose from the sands of Ur, challenging the silence imposed on women in antiquity and shaping theology, politics, and cultural expression with profound influence. Enheduanna's hymns reveal a rich tapestry of emotions, from pleas for divine protection to celebrations of enlightenment and reflections on the complex relationship between humans and gods. These texts illuminate the spiritual and social fabric of Mesopotamian life, showcasing a woman who was both a servant of the gods and an independent thinker. Translate. Her role as a priestess was deeply intertwined with her literary craft. As spiritual leader of Ur, she performed sacred rituals, maintained religious order, and engaged actively in the power dynamics of the Akkadian Empire. Her authority embodied the potential for women to attain significant status within theocratic frameworks. Despite the ravages of time, Enheduanna's legacy endures as an inspiration for female empowerment, creativity, and spiritual leadership. She disrupts the narrative of ancient women's invisibility, offering a luminous beacon of intellect and influence. The rediscovery of her works has reshaped understanding of early literature and illuminated the critical role of gender in cultural production. Her writings serve as a bridge from the dawn of writing to the timeless human quest to voice the sacred. Translate. Contemplating Enheduanna's story is a meditation on language's power and the courage required to inscribe one's existence into history's vast tapestry. She reminds us that the earliest voices to craft civilization's stories were indeed women. Through her hymns and sacred duties, Enheduanna's spirit continues to inspire, inviting us to cherish the vital intersection of creativity, devotion, and authority found in the heart of the ancient world. Translate. As our journey through the stories of rebel women who shaped ancient history draws to a close, we find ourselves reflecting on the enduring legacy they have forged. These women, warriors, poets, queens, and visionaries, shattered the chains of their eras and carved paths that continue to inspire. Their voices ripple through time, reminding us that history is not the predetermined march of empires, but the product of those courageous enough to resist and reimagine. Each figure embodies a unique facet of rebellion, political defiance, intellectual courage, spiritual strength, and the bold breaking of gender norms. Their stories weave into the rich fabric of human endeavor, elevating women's voices from whispers to resounding roars that defy silence. Their narratives impart profound lessons on power and identity, Resistance appears in myriad forms, from the battlefield to the penned word, from rulership to the nurturing and spreading of ideas. These women reveal courage's complexity, not as reckless bravado, but as thoughtful, persistent defiance. Translate. Revisiting their lives uncovers the cyclical rhythms of history, where struggles for justice and equality resonate with contemporary quests for dignity and recognition. Their legacies compel us to question accepted narratives that often sideline or erase the roles of women in shaping civilization. They underscore the necessity of remembering diverse stories, encouraging us to broaden perspectives and celebrate the vast array of human experience. The rebel women of antiquity remind us that history is not a static record, but a living dialogue where every voice matters and every act of bravery plants seeds for future change. As modern inheritors of this rich heritage, we are called to reflect on our own roles and responsibilities. The battles fought, the words spoken, and the choices made by these women offer mirrors and guideposts for today's actions. Translate. Before we part, take a moment to subscribe to Boring Bedtime Stories, where we continue unveiling hidden chapters of history and honoring those who dared to change their worlds. Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments. Your voice fuels the life of these tales. Let us honor the legacy of rebel women not only through remembrance, but through renewed commitment to courage, justice, and the relentless pursuit of a more inclusive and inspired future. Their echoes are not mere history, they are a living call to rise, resist, and author our own chapters with fearless hearts.